As a kid, I was always in trouble. And the police chief said, we've been chasing him all over town for years. I should just run him.
Louis Zamperini, he's just extraordinary. His whole life was about all the lessons he learned from the resilience of the human spirit. He always tried to be inspirational and help others, but he always wanted to do it through a film. This is that moment.
You can do this, Lou. You just gotta believe you can.
Inbound 4 o'clock.
You are enemies of Japan. We have an Olympic athlete in all counties. We're nothing. If he drops it, shoot it.
To persevere, I think, is important for everybody. Don't give up. Don't give in.
To me, there are 3 things we all should do every day. Number 1 is laugh. Number 2 is think. And number 3 is you should have your emotions moved to tears. I urge all of you to enjoy your life, the precious moments you have. Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. And those 3 things are going to carry on forever. So don't give up. Don't ever give up.
And we urge you to donate and help everyone find a cure. That was powerful.
I
2
still get
incredible
goosebumps when I hear it.
heroes.
Yeah.
And you have to read the book, Unbroken, before you see the movie.
I am going to read the book before I see the movie because I know bits and pieces of the story, but I can't
incredible.
Wait to see it. Yeah.
It's incredible. So Jimmy V Week does in fact begin this week, and we want to bring in a man who knows this fight firsthand. He's the head basketball coach at St. John's, and he's our former colleague here at ESPN. Steve Lavin. Steve, so good to see you again.
Great to be with you guys.
Steve, what is it like when you receive that call, and what goes through your mind when you're told you have cancer?
Well, initially it's numbing, just the shock of it all. I will say from the moment you get that news, you begin to see the world and life through a different prism, a different lens. Having cancer informs our sensibilities in terms of what's really important. And after that call from my doctor, I called my wife, Mary, and my mother and father. And then I didn't share it with anyone until the end of that first basketball season at St. John's because I didn't want to distract or burden our team. I wanted to be sure that we had the type of season we were capable of. And I know what a distraction it can be when you're in a major media market like New York or LA. I didn't want to shift the story to anything but the improvement of that particular basketball team that made a run to the NCAA tournament. And then at the end of the season, I began to do the real research in terms of what path of treatment was going to be best for my particular form of cancer.
Steve, I know you had some experience with the fight. Your father, Cappy, who passed away last year at 82, was diagnosed with prostate cancer 20 years earlier and won his fight against cancer. What advice did Cap have for you?
Well, the ideal scenario is to have someone so close, a mother or father or a brother, that you can speak with about a disease like cancer. So to have a father who was already a role model, a hero of mine, to be there to help me through, to navigate these kind of uncharted waters, so to speak, that was really a good thing and actually helped even bring us closer than we already were. But my father and my mother both were just outstanding teachers. You know, they were married 60 years. They were together 66 years. They were from that greatest generation that Tom Brokaw writes so poignantly about in his book, The Greatest Generation, shaped by the Depression and World War II. They have the real old school values. And so the things that my parents shared with me was, you know, the way to lead a good life, to take nothing for granted, to understand how fragile and tenuous the proposition of life is, and you know, to be grateful, to give thanks for this breath, for this moment, for this day. And so I think it was less about, you know, the specific disease of cancer and more about an outlook, an approach, an attitude towards fighting cancer.
Steve, I know you just turned 50, and you did so with Mom by your side. What was that like?
Well, my 50th birthday, September 4th, was in San Francisco, And to be able to spend that day with the woman that brought me into this planet, into this world, was precious. And as I said before, you know, you look at life through a different lens. You have more compassion. There's humility. You know, you just have a different outlook on life once you've experienced cancer. And to be with my mother on that day in San Francisco was a good escape, a respite from the grind of coaching. You know, we get so caught up in recruiting battles and trying to win games and speaking to donors and raise money. And this is a 24/7, you know, 365 proposition as a head coach at a place like St. John's. But to take time out and to be with her and to be able to celebrate a birthday with the greatest mother in the world was pretty precious.
Steve, it's Chris again. I have a question for you about how heartless this disease is, as you know, especially when it goes after children. And a little boy from Long Island, Danny Alini, recently came into your team's lives. Can you tell me about Danny?
Yeah, Danny's father, Tommy, reached out to me probably 3 years ago. And they're big St. John's fans, big New York Jets fans. They love all the teams in New York. And, you know, the inspiration that our players have gleaned, and even our coaching staff, from this family who's rallied around Danny, and our basketball family's rallied around him. And he's a cancer survivor and is at our games and practices, and the players, almost like a mascot, he's become for our team. And his fight, his attitude, you know, I think we, again, get caught up in trying to win games, and we sometimes, you know, talk about battles in sports, but the real battles happen in life. The real battles are for people that are trying to make it to Christmas, or families that have a child that may not make it to the new year. And so I think just for perspective, again, and understanding and forming our sensibilities, what's really important, the true essentials of family and faith, your health, a handful of good friends if you're fortunate, those are the things that really matter.
Steve, before we let you go, 5-1. Your team's looking good so far. You go to the Carrier Dome Saturday. How do you like your team? How are they shaping up this year?
You know, it's a group that I've enjoyed watching develop. You know, we have 5 seniors who are all going to graduate in December, a semester ahead of time. They'll finish their degrees in 3.5 years, which in this day and age is unusual. Yeah, considering the time demands on student athletes, they'll be able in that last semester to take some courses just for the joy of learning, which is nice, or start to pursue a master's degree or get a double major or a minor. And that speaks volumes about their character, the type of people they are. When you're degree-oriented and you move along on the academic side, there's a good chance that you're also going to have ambition and drive on the floor. And so I love our leadership. And then the junior class, Chris Obekba is one of the leading shot blockers in the history of this conference. And Rashid Jordan is an outstanding sophomore, one of the premier guards in the country. And the freshman class has some nice contributors as well. So I like the balance. I like our experience. It's been a tough road, an arduous climb, as we say, because we knew when we took the job 5 years ago that we had a decade or more of basketball that St. John's fans weren't satisfied with. And so this is a year we think we can make the NCAA tournament. Big game against Syracuse in the Dome. It'll give us an idea where we are as we move towards conference play in January.
Well, St. John's is back. Coach, you look great. Thanks for taking time with us. We appreciate it. Good luck Saturday against Syracuse.
Okay, sure, appreciate it. We'll do it down the road.
All right.
Good luck, Steve.
Chris, he looks good. Yeah. You know, we started the show by saying Cleveland has a decision to make at quarterback, and you had joked the Fighting Manziels. Well, it is
not
now,
so fast.
According to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, the Browns have made their decision, and the starter for Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts will be Brian Hoyer. So the Browns deciding that Hoyer gives them the best chance, not just against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, but perhaps moving forward. Remember, they're in a playoff chase, 7-5. Unlikely because there are so many teams bottled up at 7-5, but they have decided that Hoyer's the guy. Look, you have a chance, and at 7-5, it's different. If they were 5-7, maybe you go ahead and try to see what you have in Johnny Manziel. But the Browns, for now, saying they believe they're in this thing and they want to compete. So Hoyer's the guy. We'll have much more on this as sports.